All right. So over in the chat room, or if you're watching the video underneath, you have the agenda, so you can kind of skip forward if you need to see where you are in the video. I'm going to hit 7 things first, and then I'm going to give you plenty of time, probably a good 40 minutes or so to ask questions, and then I'll do it again, the same agenda at 12:30. I probably won't record that portion. I'm in Central Standard Time. I'm Suzanne Ghost, Senora Ghost. I'm wearing my little shirt, so you don't have to wonder who is this lady. I've got both parts of my of my business here. So Spanish Geniuses is what we're talking about today. And then Flip Flop Spanish is the physical products that you buy on flipflopspanish.com. That's more where you're involved, you're learning with your children hands on. Spanish Geniuses is a little bit more hands off, where you're signing them up for the subscription and the student is moving themselves through the videos. Of course, you're welcome to do the videos with them. It can be as involved as you want to be. So first thing on the agenda is the history of Spanish Geniuses. Why does it exist? And I am pretty anti-screens, y'all. I do not like screens. I've done a lot of study with brains, and just because of my history with our kids and everything, and brain development is really affected poorly by screens before puberty. And so it took a lot of effort for my husband to convince me to do a video course, because I'm like, no, I don't want to promote people being on screens. He's like, but didn't you say before puberty it's really bad? And it's not bad if it's a video. It's worse if it's like icons and interactions or short, like little 3-minute things. It's really bad for you. So whenever I said, well, I just don't want to be a part of that, he said, so they get nothing. They do flip flop Spanish. They learn to speak. They're conversing with their families. They're ready for that scholar level. And now where do you send them? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And he goes, just try it. I was like, okay. So we recorded my classes, and that's what you see. Every class is me teaching actual humans. I'm not great at teaching nobody. I have to teach somebody that interacts with me. So you have my video of me teaching kids, and that way your kid can be sitting in the classroom, responding with the children. And then I edited it down to where it's about 20 minutes, because if it's more than 25 minutes of sitting, that's another level of kind of atrophy in the brain. And so I try to always get your children up, moving around within 20 minutes. Sitting for more than 20 minutes is very bad for our brains. And that's just, yeah. So that's why we start forgetting things, I think, is more because we sit more as we age rather than our actual age. So Spanish Geniuses Level 1 came out very slowly. 6 years ago, and then I just edited and uploaded every single week, and now they're all up there the full year. And now I go back, and as you have questions, you're like, Senora Ghost, I don't understand this part of this lesson. I'll make a little homework video and explain it more thoroughly. We have mastery quizzes now as well, because people said, we took a break, I don't know if she remembers, so I provided that. So as you are a subscriber, I will continue to update and continue to make it better and better. If you ask, it will get on there and I'll send it back to you. I think that's about it for Spanish Geniuses. We have level 2. The next year I recorded and edited level 2, and now we have level 3, which is much more student pushed. So that would be more like a even more scholar level, where the student is really deciding how much they want. Level 3, I do require them to come to the live sessions. The live sessions started out with just me being in office hours, right? So I'm just sitting here waiting, who's going to show up? So all these kids showed up. I went, oh, okay. What questions do y'all have? And they said, we don't have any questions. Mom said you were on, so we came on. I said, oh, well, you want to speak Spanish? And so they chose a topic, and we started speaking Spanish. So this is my paper from yesterday. What I do is I doodle, and yesterday we talked about evening routine. So they get to choose what the topic is for the next month. So every month it's a wild card. It's crazy what they choose, but this is evening routine. So I give them some sentence starters. Here's adverbs in the middle, and then here's our nouns. If they're brand new, they're just focusing on 3 or 4 words here, practicing those things. But every single student has the option of creating original sentences. This is the Charlotte Mason method. I did not know it was called the Charlotte Mason method back when I started teaching. This is just how I taught, because it was natural to me. It's called the series method. And so they get to choose one portion. If you choose something from each column, you can create a complete Spanish sentence without fear. And so it's helping to train their brain with syntax, grammar, semantics, everything, with no fear. And then you'll notice there's no English on the page. And so that's another portion of the Charlotte Mason method, which, again, I did not know I was a Charlotte Mason person when I started teaching. Turned out I do everything like she does. So that's the history of Spanish Geniuses. Does anybody have any questions about that part before I go on to materials needed? Okay, you can put it over in the chat or you can just speak up or interrupt. All right, so your materials needed for level one, I'm assuming most of us are here for level one. Everybody must have, every student needs a Spanish Now. This is your textbook. I did not write this. This is by Barron's. That would be a feat. We did not end up using all of it. I know it's kind of scary, but we end up only using about half of it because the second half here is just vocab study. So this first half is what we focus in on. In the back, there's an answer key. Here, I'll put it down over here so y'all can see. But every student does need their own. It is consumable. So in the back, we have a glossary, and here's the answer key. The very first lesson, I have your student go through and do this. Put a paper clip here. If your kid has integrity issues, then you might want to cut it out. But it's okay for them to look back here because I want them to correct themselves and rewrite their own correction here. So if you see your kid just flipping back and forth, yeah, that's not good. That's copy work, and I'm not teaching copy work. But in general, it's okay to refer to this because it gives them confidence. For their first lessons, they're going through. So this is like lesson 5 here. And we have a story. We have vocab, and you can notice this is the vocabulary they have to have. They're not doing every single list. Every single word. I tell them which ones to do. We have questions about the story. And then we have grammar questions. And I assign some of it. You'll see that I don't assign every single exercise. The way they find out what is it that I use? What do I do every week is in their guidebook. This guidebook is available to purchase, or all these pages are included in your subscription. So you can just print down, download the PDF and print it, hole punch it, and put it in a binder. It's just, do you want to do that or not? It's expensive to bind. So it does cost a little bit on the website, and you can buy this on flipflopspanish.com. I think they're like $43 right now. And unfortunately, with the next printing, they'll go up. It's sad how everything keeps going up. But this is what they do. So here we are on week 2. So each lesson is designed to be 1 week. So let's start with lesson 1. Lesson 1 has a lot to go over. And so usually this first page where it says lesson 1 has their assignments, but because there's so much to go over there in the first lesson, I tell them down here, usually your homework is on this page. This week you have to turn the page. I tell them this in the video as well during the lesson. And so here's their assignments. Anytime you see a page number, that is referring to your Spanish Now textbook. They're yellow now, but the page numbers are really, really similar. So if you have a red book, you're fine. The 8th edition is all here. If you end up getting the 9th edition, which is that bright yellow one, here's your edits right here on the back. So look, lesson 1, there's no edits. Lesson 2, there's no edits. By the time you get to lesson 3, hey, day 2, it's not the page that it says in here. It's page 17, exercise 1. So all your edits are nice and handy here. If you end up printing your PDF instead of buying the spiral bound, that edit page is included in every lesson that's necessary. I do not include it in lessons that you don't have any edits. Okay, I think that's it for the materials that you need. You need a textbook for each child and a guidebook for each child. This is for high school level 1. Level 2, you have another guidebook that's a different color, it's blue, and then you have a different textbook. And so you'll get this. Both textbooks have audio with them. And this one, it's an app, but the cool thing is there's no icons. You're not clicking. You're not, you're just listening. And so there's an app to download to get the audio for this one. For Barron's, their audio is very, very difficult to get. And so just email me and I send you the link because it is a mess. And you only have it for 12 months and. So I feel like as long as you buy it, I'm not bootlegging it. I'm sending you what you already paid for in an easier format. So I send you that link. All right, so we have a question over here. Flip-flop level 1. Yeah, so for flip-flop Spanish, it should be super evident. Flip-flop Spanish is super hands-on. You're being a student, right? You lay out your flashcards, you push play, and you're a student with your children. So this orientation is more about how to use the website for high schoolers. But if you have any questions, yeah, I don't think you would need to switch to Spanish Geniuses. This is more like scholar level, I'd say middle school and high school. if you want to access, we do have reading sessions, read alouds, where you can access those. And I do make some of them free every week. And you can pay attention to the newsletter and grab that from the library. So there are some supplies on there for you. But if you have See It and Say It, you've got 2 years in that beautiful blue box that my husband designed, and you're set. Okay, so history of Spanish geniuses, materials needed, and then materials that are optional. I require, when I have my in-person classes, all of my students have a skinny book. My husband turned this one into his notepad. But a skinny book is designed so that the student writes Spanish on one side, English on the other, and then they can quiz themselves. So this is where I require my own in-person kids. This is how they record. They get that vocabulary out of their red book. So here's, the pages that they're doing, and we're just marking those. And those words that are marked, they're supposed to write down somewhere. I don't need them to, just go over it. I want them to write it in another area. All right, so See It and Say It. Yeah, See It and Say It is, you don't need me today. Unless you have questions. I'm happy to answer your questions about See It and Say It. Okay, so materials. Does anybody have questions about the history of Spanish Genius or the materials that you need? You're wondering, do I need anything extra? This is optional. They do need something to record their vocabulary into. It can be flashcards. I don't really like it when they use Quizlet or they use an app, because their brain doesn't do the same thing when they type as when you write. And so we're really trying to increase absorption with efficiency, right? Kids want to remember things easily and quickly. And so writing it down is a surefire way to do it. If you have a doodler, doodling it. Yes, See It and Say It. I actually have, the question is See It and Say It level 1 a good prep for Spanish 1? Absolutely. I actually ask all of my in-person students, if they haven't done See It and Say It, I have them do 3 weeks of just the flashcards. I'm like, you don't have to do the whole 2-year curriculum, but grab that green set of flashcards. And I made something called the Quick Start Guide for high schoolers to just go through those flashcards, training their brain to where, I'm kind of priming the pump of, I see the word, I hear the word, and now I know I can make sentences. Because the very first lesson, you're saying, I like, I want, I need, and putting nouns with it. And so we're kind of overcoming that hump of, I've never done this before. The flashcards make it where it's easy to do, it's hands-on, and there's no like grammar involved. So once people do See It and Say It level 1, that's a 2-year course. Then Spanish Geniuses level 1 just turns into like reading comprehension and deeper grammar. They're like, I already know how to speak. Right. This turns into more language arts. And so they're able to grab that level 1 at a much deeper level. You're okay. If you start with no knowledge, Spanish Geniuses will still cover you. It's just See It and Say It makes you just soar, and it becomes, it's just much easier. All right. Can I cover where to find the answers and tests for the midterm? Okay, so
I can explain that. I can explain it a little bit more.
Okay.
So we've been with you the whole time. Love it. It's been great.
Thank you.
It's confusing, and I should have spoke up sooner, but the tests and the midterms we'll go through, and then you're kind of like introducing the test. It seems earlier, or pre-warning them that it's coming. I'm not quite sure. And so then there's like we're giving the test too soon before we should, and then when they take it, then we're struggling to like correct it and find the actual correction page. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So I've like done it enough time. I'm like, I cannot figure this out. Why am I, and so then we end up resorting to all sorts of different sources to try and get the answers. And it's silly.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I never recorded the day where we went over the exams because it's so all over the place, right? Which kid didn't do which. And so, but that's a good point. I should have a video that says, here are the corrections, here are the correct answers to this exam, and this is why, not just the answer key. So I do the thing where I say, hey, it's coming. Hey, it's coming. But then in your guidebook, here, I'll come over to the document camera. I tried to make it evident, but it's one of those things where you're teaching in person and then you have to transfer that information via paper. So here it is. So lesson 12 is week 12. This is the winter exam review, also known as the midterm. So weeks 13 and 14 is when you're studying and you're taking that midterm because I want you to study for a good week. That's a lot of stuff to review. Here's your oral grading options. I know some kids really shut down when they're put on the spot to be graded orally. So I give you lots of options of how to grade that. Here's your midterm grading rubric. So they would be taking the exam after lesson 12, which would be after week 12, or, and so here's their review. This is what they would watch and do on week 12. The video goes through each one of these to prepare them. And then here, boom, week 13 is when you give your midterm exam. The answer keys for this are in week 14. In case you have a kid that has integrity issues, I always put the answer keys in the following week so you can kind of look over their shoulder. Or if they're doing the a la carte, I'm making sure they don't have access to the answer keys until you want them to. So I know it's, we're all sinners, and it's weird. All five of my kids, like not a single perfect one, all of them sinners. So I try to make sure it's not as tempting.
Okay, that is a little more helpful. Yeah,
Okay.
if you had a video, that would be really nice
Yes. So
to
after you take
incorporate.
the midterm, me just talking through each one.
Yeah, yeah, because then it's not just, oh, I got it wrong. Why
Yeah.
did I get it wrong? Okay, now
Yeah.
it's almost like we're doing a study guide all over again. I mean, it promotes more studying, I guess, but then,
Yeah.
it's like digging more like, okay, well, why did I do that wrong? Or why does sometimes the book say this is okay, but
Mm,
then it's
yeah.
not okay in the video,
Right.
and I'm sure that's discrepancies of language and trying to like mesh that
Yeah.
together has been convoluted. And I'm not a natural Spanish speaker,
Sure.
so I'm at a loss.
Yes, I understand. The good news is in the yellow book, which I lent it out, and I forgot I lent it out, so I don't have it here to show you, but I do have a yellow book. In the yellow book, one of the things they actually contacted me and asked for my input before they came out with edition 9. I know, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, yeah, there's all these errors in the answer key. So the yellow book, the answer key is more correct. I'm not going to say I looked at every single thing, but some of those glaring errors are gone now in the yellow book. So you can trust the answer key more in that next edition. But I will absolutely make a video where it's like questions 1 to 15. So if they didn't miss anything in questions to 1 to 15, they can do questions, 16 to 20. And so I'll make a few videos for lesson 14. I'll put it in there and say, exam review or midterm, what would I call it? Midterm corrections, I guess. The other
Yeah.
option they always have, and I would really recommend they do this, is come to our live sessions. Just come to the live sessions and say, Senora Ghost, on the midterm, I missed number 14 and I don't know why. I'll be like, absolutely. And the other kids are super encouraged by this. They're like, wow, they're already at the midterm. And so it really encourages the other kids to get there, to not give up, and it also helps them to prepare. So I would highly recommend anytime they're frustrated, try and grab one of those times. I'm up there twice a week, and we start with, hey, who has questions? And I end with, hey, who has questions? And if you do it at the end, a lot of kids leave. So if you're shy, well, it's the end of the session, and I'll stay on with just them and we'll talk and go through it.
Okay, that is helpful. I guess I had told them that your Zoom sessions were only about that topic. So like when
Uh,
you're covering, oh, we're doing games or we're doing whatever,
yeah. Yeah,
and
the only reason is because nobody had questions. I intended to just answer questions the whole time. And so now it's turned into this really fun. I mean, my cheeks hurt at the end of every 30-minute session. It's great.
yes, yes. The time we haven't been able to go as much as we would have
Sure.
liked. We had internet issues, but now they're
Yeah.
fixed. So,
Yay, hooray. Yeah,
yay.
internet, it's a bummer. So,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you. That is helpful.
good. And I want thank you for the idea. I'm actually going to write it down because I don't trust my brain. See, I tell you, if you write things down. So we're going to call those midterm correction review or midterm correction video for lesson 14. And I'll do
Mhm.
that for level 2 as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the idea. All right, so that was 1, 2, and 3 materials needed. Does anybody else have any questions right now before we go on to navigation? All right, I'm going to share my video or my screen. Sorry. How do I do that? It's always, every time you think I get good at this. Share. Okay, so here we are in the website itself. Once you see the website, you're gonna first step for me is always click browse, and that's what this page is right here. So with browse, you have forums. Kids don't usually use those. I used to put all the dates on there for the live sessions, and students didn't look at it. So I don't do that anymore. It's just, I just put it in the regular thing. But you can always post here. It alerts me over email, and then I will come back and respond. So all of these should, oh yeah, so see, there should never ever be anything over here that doesn't have a reply, because I see it and I reply. It also can give you a chance to search, right? So if you're like, I'm not sure if this has been asked before, you can ask. Sometimes it's just homework help. Anyhow, there's lots of options. Search is the next thing. You can type in, I don't know, maybe you want to do Mo Willems. And so you want to do a Mo Willems book. Boom, here's all your options for your Mo Willems book. Or you want to look up a title. Hey, has she done The Very Hungry Caterpillar yet? And so you can type that in and you can see what it is. Or you're like, maybe I need some more practice on subjunctive tense. And so you type it in. So that's a great situation for you. Anytime you have a question about anything, you can do that. To get out of it, it's way up here in the top right-hand corner. You're like, wait, I don't want to be here anymore. What do I do? Top right-hand corner, there's that white X, and then you go back to whatever it is. So the main place you're going to come is on your browse page. If we start with lesson one, level one, a lot of people the very first time they try the carousel and they say, oh no, you only have 10 lessons. I have all the lessons. You can either click view all, because it goes back to the front again, right? Or you can click the actual title of the course. Whenever you're not sure if something's there, you're like, I can't find it. In general, scroll down, because sometimes, see right there, it paused. And so if I go too fast, it says show more. You have to click that show more. But there's 25 lessons for each one. Let's just do a random one. We'll choose lesson 5. And so lesson 5, a lot of times, so here's all these different things. They'll say, hey, there's no answer key, or there's no mastery, there's no level, there's no something. Scroll down, because if you're on a tablet or something, then just scroll down and it's probably there. You're just not seeing it because there's more below there. So that's kind of the quick answer to everybody when people email me and say, I can't find such and such. My very first 2 words is please scroll down. Well, I guess it's 3 words. Please scroll down. And so here we are here. Check it out. We've got level 1, boom, 25 lessons. Level 2. Now here's the read alouds. This is for like, hey, I'm paying for this for my high schooler. And is there anything else? Yes, there is. If you have a 5th grader, 4th grader, 3rd grader, you can go to the story time. And it's just me reading the stories. You can grab most of these at your library in Spanish. If you have a bilingual section, go look at it. Or you can just sit there and watch it, because it's me turning the pages. It's not, you don't even see my face. You just see the book. Some of them actually even have lessons, like a homework packet with it. So here, the Hungry Caterpillar was a great one. So you can print these for your younger kids, and each one has levels for it. So like 4 and 5-year-old activities, and then activities for the older students all the way up to like 7th and 8th grade. So if you want to make a whole unit out of it, I've done that for you as well. All right, back to browse. Look, scroll down, show more. Now we have the junior sessions. Juniors include several different options. When middle schoolers are kind of all over the map. We have kids that are more like 4th and 5th graders that are in middle school. Then we have kids that are more mature and they're almost ready for high school. So we have lots of options here. These first 6 you do need to do in order. These next 6 you do need to do in order. The rest of them you do not need to do in order. So we have Pasaportes, which is geography-based Spanish. I do not have them all uploaded yet. I'm only up to like week 5. Yeah, so I'm still working on those and adding them as we go. But those are super fun. So these are all the juniors options. Another option for juniors is doing it half pace. You could do vocab 1 week, grammar the next. And that way you're doing level 1. They're getting their high school level 1 credit, but at their own pace, much slower. There's no reason to rush an 8th grader to feel stressed out and try and get that level 1 accomplished. Then we have level 3, which again, I told you is novel reading, poetry, songs, and it's very much student led. So the student will be doing these activities, checking them off as they go. I do require them to go to at least 1 live session a month. And so again, view all. Here's all your options. I only have 10 so far. There's only going to be 15 because I give you 2 weeks to do each one. So this is almost built out. I know Alex, one of my Spanish 2 students, is starting level 3, so I will get it all the way built out for him because he's excited about getting all the way through. All right, back up to browse. Scrolling down, show more. Scrolling down, lazy Spanish. This is fantastic for everybody. I love lazy Spanish. It takes legit 5 minutes. And what it does is it gives you a formula. So, like, do you know that all words that end in OR in English also are basically the same word in Spanish? Doctor, tractor, actor, all those words, conductor. You're just saying the word in English with a Spanish accent. Boom, you have like 70 words with that one formula. So, lazy Spanish. So I highly recommend anybody going through these little 5 minute lessons, and they're pretty funny and silly and easy. And then down here at the bottom is all of the session recording. So every time I haven't uploaded yesterday's yet, but look, here I am in Big Bend, here I am in like Fort Davis or Alpine. No matter where I am, I make sure I make it to our sessions. So if you're wondering, hey, are there any schools, vocab? Is there cooking vocab? This one, I don't know where I am, that one probably Kansas. Anyhow, so I'm at all these different places, and I always make sure we get on there. And you can hear the students. If you say anything embarrassing, I do try to edit that out. And if you're just wondering, how does it go? That's a great place to start and watch, getting yourself ready for a live session. All right. Questions on the video or the website? Okay. Daily and weekly expectations for your student. Inside your guidebook, if you bought the guidebook, the new one has the edits on the back, like I said. If you bought it, then it's all in there. If you didn't buy it, this portion is not included in the PDF. You'll want to print out these two portions because this will help you. So let me come over to my document camera. Okay, this is what I call the homework grid. You're not going to use this to tell you everything that you're doing. This is just to check it off because your actual assignment is nicely laid out on your homework page, which page number, which day, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Let's look at lesson 2. So day 1, listen to your track, watch your vocab lab, copy your words, and then look, read and comprehend la televisión es muy importante on page 3. Page 3 refers back to your Spanish Now book. So if I look back at the grid, lesson 2, I write the date that I am starting my lesson 2. Did I do the vocab lab? Yes, I did. Check or X or highlight. Did I listen to that track? Yes, I did. Page 4, 1A. Page 4, exercise 2. I'm checking these off so that mom can just flip through here. She's not having to look and filter through. So I put a paper clip on this one, or if you have a binder, this is just so that you can glance at it and not have to tediously look through every single page. Because with 5 kids, I try to simplify everything. That's a grid that you'll print out separately from your PDF if you're printing out the guidebook. On the back of it in your guidebook, I have your grade report. Same idea. Lesson 1, what date did you do it? Video, I did it 100%. Vocab lab, I watched it 100%. Completion of homework, I did 92% of my homework, 92. No quiz grade here, so I don't have to worry about it. So at the end of the year, you have this nice handy thing. If your state requires grades, you can easily access it. Now I actually do have a quiz on every single week if you choose to do it. If that stresses your kid out, please don't do that. Don't give them a quiz. That's not a good, not a good method to see what their mastery is for every single child, but it's an option. All right, so daily and weekly expectations. Your child will need to have one day where they're just watching the video and taking the notes. Their notes are in their guidebook or the printout. 20 minutes, they're done with Spanish. The next day, they're probably going to spend about 20 to 30 minutes on their assignment. And so those other 4 days, 20 to 30 minutes. Every once in a while, I only give them 3 days of assignments. If you have it where you keep Fridays free, yeah, they're probably going to do the video and lesson or level day 1 on that first day. You might have to adjust it or just take a little bit longer. There's only 13 lessons per semester, so you can spread it out if you need to. Weekly expectations is that they do not move on until they have completed those little checky markies. Like, I remember I always go around all my students every single week, and this one kid was always late, right? So when I would check the homework, he wasn't there. We get to week like 16 or something. So we're in second semester. And I come by and he's there on time. First time, I think, all year. And I said, hey, you didn't do your homework? And he's like, yeah, I did my homework. I was like, well, why aren't you checking it off so I can see? And he goes, oh, that's what that's for. I was like, yeah, yeah. So make use of the little check marks, and that way you can see what you've done. If they have not done it, I don't let them go on. You're not doing the next week. It's a very simple assignment. It's very quick. It's not something that's supposed to be tedious. So please have them do every assignment. If they finish early, then they could go on to the next lesson or they get a free day. So that's weekly. I don't expect them to move on to the next lesson until their homework is completed. The second part about homework is every single thing they read in here, they should read aloud. Every single thing they write, they should write aloud. Nobody has ever asked me to write something for them in Spanish. I've been asked to read something in Spanish before, but I've never been asked to write. And so, as a bilingual speaker, you want to be able to speak. If you don't speak, you're not going to learn to speak. And I'm not hanging out with you. So you have to be speaking as much as you're in this book. You should be hearing them constantly. And they can whisper, but it's better to give it voice. So let them mutter. I know it's a little bit annoying, but they need to be practicing and struggling through and making their tongue do that stuff. And then that's a good reason to come to the sessions as well, because they get that chance. All right, questions for daily and weekly expectations. 30 minutes a day, right? About 30 minutes a day. If it's taking way longer than 30 minutes, you can always email me, message me, text me, whatever, and say, hey, this is taking my kid way longer than 30 minutes. And I can ask you some questions. Okay, what are they doing? Are they trying to translate every single word? Type 1, firstborn kid, type A, firstborn kid. If they're trying to translate every single word, they're not going to grab Spanish. They're going to learn how to translate. And we want them to learn how to communicate. So that would be a pitfall, which pulls us into the next part, pitfalls. Okay, pitfalls for boys. Let's start with boys. Pitfalls for boys is they don't like writing, and that's okay. I actually now have the PDF of Spanish Now. I got permission from Barron's. If you purchase the book, I'm allowed to send you the PDF as well. You click the top little 3 dots in the corner, and now it's editable. They can type in there, and so they can have and then save it. So same idea. They're consuming their textbook, they're doing it, but they're typing it instead of writing it. So if you have dysgraphia, dyscalculia, or you just don't like writing, okay, that's a way around that to make sure they get it done with less problems. I don't like it that they're on screens even that much more. I think the paper, having the paper is a big deal because you can flip back and it just makes a big difference. But that is a way to get around that. Another pitfall for boys is they really think that they do remember it. They think, no, I've got this memorized, and they don't know the words. So the skinny book is here. So their job was to write Spanish on one side and English on the other, right? So now you can hold it up in front of your face. They can see this side, you can see that side, and you can quiz them, or they can just say it out. I like flashcards better than skinny book, but my students showed me for 20 years they are more willing and more apt to use this than they were to use flashcards. The cool thing is that you can always cut it, right? Oh, I don't want this full up. I only want like 6 or 7 words per page. Lots of white space in between each word. You take your scissors and chop it, and now you have flashcards. All right, question is, what if a student only finishes 75%? Would you stop there, or would you have them finish over the summer? Could the remaining 25% count towards Spanish 2? It depends on your state. The cool thing about most states is they're going to test you anyhow when you get to college, right? So if you're looking at a college level, somebody who's ready to go to college, then I would not put high school Spanish 1 on their transcript unless they actually completed, got that passing grade, and finished the final exam 80% or above with high school level 1 Spanish. If they are not college bound, I would call it conversational Spanish 1, conversational Spanish 2, and base it on amount of time they spent, not on what they accomplished. And so conversational Spanish is all about the practice and the amount of time you spend while learning. High school level 1, high school level 2 means something in every state. So if they're college bound, I would not say that counts. I would say you have to complete all 25 lessons and you have to have your exam done. Yes, you're going to continue through summer and you're going to get that done. Also, that's how college is too, right? So you're prepping them, you're being kind to them by letting them fail and suffer and be frustrated under your roof. Much better to suffer and fail at home than to suffer and, fail out of a college course because they don't say, oh, that's okay, sweetie, finish in the summer. You just fail and you lose all those credits. If they're not Spanish college bound, conversational Spanish, yes, now we're in Spanish too, boom. And then maybe just come to the sessions over the summer. I did it twice a week, every single week during the summer, and we had the best time because everybody's super relaxed. And I would say, what lesson are y'all on? They're like, ha ha, no tengo escuela. And so it was a lot more relaxed. All right. Pitfalls for girls. Oh, so pitfalls for boys, you need to check them for understanding. Make sure they actually know their words. Have them make it in a sentence. ¿Te gusta? No, no me gusta. Do you like it? Any word they have. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And then giving them that chance to formulate an opinion, right? They all have opinions. Formulate an opinion in Spanish with that word. Girls, they are the opposite with pitfalls. Girls do not want to move on until they know every single word. And so they will be staying on this lesson here. I'll come over to my document camera. And so here they are, and they're like, perdone, señorita, ¿es este su libro? And you're like, este? I don't know este yet. And then they spend the next 10 minutes looking up what este is instead of going, all right, pardon, miss, something, your book. Oh yeah, thank you. And so they're really focusing in on each and every little word. And that's not how language works. That's not how they learned their first language. They need to get the gist and move forward. Spend 4 or 5 minutes reading it. Do you basically get the main idea? If the word is down here, yay. If it's not down here, that means it's not important yet. I have to always give you more than you can absorb. With language, I have to give you X plus 1. If I give you X plus 100, you sit down in a heap and cry. If I give you colors, numbers, weather, clothing, and then next year we do colors, number, weather, clothing, colors, numbers, weather, clothing, everybody's like, oh, Spanish is boring because I'm just giving you X again and again and again. So I'm always trying to push you just one level above where you are. And a lot of girls really don't like that. They really want to be able to achieve all of it because they have been able to, right? Science, history, math, literature, they've always been able to understand 100% of everything before they move on. And language is not like that. So they have to go, I am not going to understand 100%, and I'm going to move forward. So that's a big pitfall for girls. If you have a perfectionist and a girl, timers really help. Did you complete Spanish for the entire time that the 20 minutes was going on? Yes, I did. Okay, then that's 100%. Move forward. See what you got done. Can you be more efficient? And I'm not talking 20 minutes where you're changing your playlist and looking out the window and things like that. I'm talking 20 minutes of actual study without interruptions. All right, does anybody else have any pitfalls to add to the questions? And I can help you with those. Some pitfalls that you noticed that I haven't hit on yet. Another main pitfall with Spanish, especially, is it's an elective, right? Nobody's asking you what level you're on. They ask you your reading level and your math level. Oh, my kid is in 6.5 and she's only 7 years old, or whatever it is. So there's a lot of comparison with other subjects, and there's not comparison with Spanish or any foreign language. And so it gets to the bottom of the heap, and sometimes we skip it, and then we skip it, and then we skip it, and then suddenly you're like 3 months behind. So that pitfall, what I would recommend is do it before math. Nobody ever skips math, right? We never skip math. We make sure we hit math. So before you get to math, if you're opening up your math book, the question's, wait, we can't do math yet. Have you done Spanish? It really should be 20 to 30 minutes. So you typically have time to get it done. Just do it before math and you'll typically hit it. Co-op methods, number 6. So Sydney got on earlier and asked me this question, and so I have a good kind of baseline for you. If you're in a co-op and you're using Spanish Geniuses, yay, you're saving money, first of all. And secondly, the main reason I give those discounts is because I want you to learn Spanish, and you learn better if you're accountable to a group. You keep on going. So there's 2 different ways to do that. One is to watch the video in person together at co-op. I don't really like that one because then you're all staring at a screen for the 1 hour a week that you're together. Why do that? So to me, the second option would be the better option. So maybe on week 1, you watch lesson 1 video together just to get started, learn your books. Okay, does everybody even have the same book? No, you have one that needs the edits. That's okay. Does everybody have their guidebook here, or have you printed it out, right? So week 1, watch the video, go through the books, do all the orientation, maybe watch some FAQs. Then you go home, watch the video at home, do your notes at home, and then come back and just go over homework together. So they're speaking together, they're checking their answers together. Maybe you have a couple of vocab games like hangman, bingo, charades, paleta. If you did see it and say it, you're always doing Pictionary in Spanish. So there's lots of ways you can do role play. There's all kinds of things to do during co-op. But those are the two methods: watch the video together and take notes in class, and then do homework at home, or really treat it more like a study session and you're watching your videos on your own time, doing your notes at home, and then just checking to make sure you're moving forward. Another good method for your co-op is to use that grid. So everybody needs to bring their grid and you're just glancing over it. Why is that not checked off? Oh, well, I didn't do it. Then I would pull that kid out of the co-op class right then and say, go do it now. You're not sitting with your friends. You're coming over here and you're completing this. Otherwise, it turns into this deep ditch of a hole. If they're legitimately sick, they had a volleyball tournament, whatever it is, that's fine. That's not within their jurisdiction or their control. In that case, I would move on to the next lesson. Don't make them catch up. They just continue on lesson 4, lesson 5. They go back and fill in 2 or 3 as they can. But otherwise, they're never going to get it because they're always behind, because they don't have more hours in their week than they did the week before. I have an edits page on the website. Every single lesson that needs an edit, this is in that lesson as well. So you'll see it there. It looks just like this. It's a PDF, and you'll print it. You'll just need to print it once, but it's also available for you to view every time there's an edit. So you will not see this page until lesson 3. Yeah. And so again, this is just for the yellow book, and there's just a few. I was so scared, y'all, when they came out with the new 9th edition. I was like, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to buy every red book in the world because I do not want to redo all this. So I was so grateful. And every time I got to a lesson that said no edits, I would like cry tears of joy. Yes, less confusion. I am excited that the yellow book has the answer key is much better. So I'm very excited about that. I don't like that there's only 2 colors, right? It was only 2 colors. It was red and black. Well, now it's just black and white. I'm like, cheap. Come on. And it's not cheaper. It's $25 to buy. So I think I've gotten through everything. Oh, what's next? Number 7. Oh, questions about co-op. Sorry. Does anybody have questions about your co-op? Okay. Something that some co-ops have not done is they have not used up their special time with me. So if you're a co-op and you have 5 kids or more, or you're just a group of friends and you've got 5 students or 5 families, you get access to me, just me, for 30 minutes with just your group. So make sure you make use of that. A lot of people don't, they forget to put it on the calendar and we never do it. And I like y'all, so we should totally do that. And then last thing is what's next. So Spanish 1, 2, and 3 is all I have. If you have a 9th grader and they're just rocking along, they did Spanish 1, they're in Spanish 2, you think they could get to Spanish level 4, you can totally do that. What I would recommend is have them teach little kids. Have them use See It and Say It, use flip-flop Spanish, run their own class. They're going to learn entrepreneurship. They're going to learn so much more Spanish because they have to be prepared. And so that's what I call Spanish 4. They're continuing on with their own studies. They're continuing to read novels. Because with Spanish 3, you just choose an option. So there's always more options. Spanish 3 can be drawn out over 2 years because you're choosing one option out of 3 options every single week. So I'm giving you that flexibility. You could go back and do the options you didn't choose, and now that's Spanish 4 because it's just more movies, novels, poetry, songs, culture. All right. I also have a new leadership course. That was something I wanted to talk to y'all about. If you have a student that would like to expand their leadership and learn how to think analytically about interpersonal relationships selfishly, I would love for y'all to join that because I'm having my senior that's the only reason it exists, is because I need her to do this, and I don't have an in-person group to do that this year. So we're doing the leadership course. So if you've been following the newsletter, it's out there. Leadership Lab is what it's called. Leadership Lab. All right, questions over here. So Lexi says, I'm new to all this. I have a soon to be 7th grader. Would I use flip flop or Spanish Geniuses? Okay, that's my question. Every time somebody says, do I use See It and Say It or do I do the video course? My first question is always, are there siblings? Since there's a 1st grader, I would put the 7th grader in charge of See It and Say It flip flop Spanish. Here's the older version. The new one's designed by my husband. This is what I designed. He designed it super cool with the superhero stuff. But this is back in the day, 15 years ago. Y'all remember CDs? CDs. Anyhow, that's all MP3 now. But what I would do for my seventh grader is I would put them in charge where their job is to find the cards for the week. They lay out those cards on the table and then they push play on the audio and they are leading the child, the first grader, through it. If that's not a good mashup of personalities, it doesn't always gel, then that's okay. They just do it together. For your seventh grader, call it conversational Spanish in middle school, but you don't need a transcript anyhow. But it'll prepare them so well. So by the time they get to ninth grade, Spanish Geniuses just feels like a breeze. It feels like reading comprehension and language arts. It's so much easier. So I would go ahead and do see it and say it. The only time I would not do see it and say it is when you have a senior in high school. See it and say it is going to at least give them a few weeks of see it and say it because that method teaches them Spanish the same way they learned their first language. Spanish Geniuses is great. It works. And you don't have to have see it and say it first. But if you have time, it just smooths away. It makes it so much easier. All right, Sydney's saying, what's the best way to approach payments for the co-op? Yes, everybody needs to just sign up on their own. That's going to be the easiest way. What happens is you contact me. I say, how many families do you have? If you have 5 or more families, I send you a special discount code. You tell everybody, hey, you need to sign up monthly. I can't give discounts for the annual. It's just the way it works. So you sign up for the monthly subscription. But the cool thing is there, you can cancel it if it doesn't work for you or whatever. So I send you a discount that will give you the 30%, 40%, or 50% off, depending on how many families you have. And that's locked in. So you just give them the code and I make it match your class. So if your co-op is named, I don't know, lipstick lollipops, it's like lipstick lollipops 25, and that's your discount code. So everybody should definitely do the subscription. If you do the a la carte, the download as you go methods, it's just a pain. It's just a pain. Which one do I download? Okay, now, it's just nice to have the subscription and then they can always go back because you saw the website. You have access to all levels, all videos, everything. And kids are curious and no ads are going to pop up anywhere. It's just like nothing is going to pop up and take them off of that screen. We also have an app. My husband made it work. I don't even know how it works. It's the same exact thing, but it's only for Apple, but it's a free app and then you subscribe through there to get access to everything. So if you have an iPad or a phone that their kid does their videos on, you can do the Spanish Geniuses app. All right, so Lexi has a 7th grader. Okay, so 10th grader, if you have the red book for Spanish now, you do not have any edits. The red book is the original. That's the OG. So you don't have to worry about this page here. That is just for 9th edition. The red book is all correct already.
Did you mean when you were saying, because you said that the back of the red book, the answer key was not as well done? That's, I think, what I'm referring to.
Oh, gotcha. I mentioned that when we get to it. So whenever there's a homework review, that's when I say it. Other times,
Great.
what I did, I just nixed that exercise just so that y'all don't have to be confused because not everybody's going to watch the homework review. And so then they're going to the back and then the answer key's wrong. So that's frustrating.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Good question. All right. So Lexi, since you have a 10th grader, I would have the 10th grader sit in for the first month, do see it and say it for the first month, 3 weeks, something like that. And then let them do Spanish Geniuses. And then you can decide, is it worth it to you to have them sit there with the 15 minutes of flip-flop Spanish? My kids always loved it. It was fun. They like to show off. So my high schooler liked to be in with the see it and say it. And they would actually come into my classes, my flip-flop Spanish classes, and just have fun. They're just like, this is great. I love this class, So I don't know how your 10th grader is, but having both going concurrently are fine as long as you're not requiring both concurrently. So it's a good supplement. See it and say it's a great supplement to Spanish Geniuses. I would not, they don't track, right? They're completely different methods. But I would not require the 7th grader or the first grader to get on videos if possible. If you're like, Suzanne, that's really nice. My budget is not a bottomless pit. Please tell me which one to choose. I would choose the video course because your 10th grader has less time than your first grader. And there is read alouds, there is the junior sessions, there are other options on Spanish Geniuses for those younger kids. So whenever you're saying, which one do I serve out of my kids, you serve the one you have the least time with. And so that's who you serve because you have more time to and fewer kids to tend to. When that first grader is a 10th grader, you'll be able to handle them much more easily. All right. Online for See It and Say It. Oh, on the website. Okay. Um, the whole package versus the download plus cards. Yeah. So the download is the audio and all this stuff. Now it's bigger because it's full color and it's got 15 more weeks of grammar lessons at the end that are optional. So anyhow, this is the PDF that you're going to download and print. You don't have to print it. You can totally work from the screen because all you need the manual for, it's got the transcript of everything I say, but you just need the manual to know which cards to pull out. So you lay out the cards, then you push play. What you're going to hear is this transcript on there for See It and Say It. So if you like everything to be physical, printed, and you have it all, then get the box set. If you say, no, I'm chill with looking on a screen or printing it out myself to find the cards, then get the cheaper version, which is the ebook with the flashcards. I don't recommend printing your own flashcards. It's a big pain. I recommend buying the nicely printed flashcards are already nice and stiff, good size, and you don't have to cut and paste. So, all right. Other questions so far? All right, I think I've gotten everything, but I'll go back. I'll start again at 12:30. So we got about 8 minutes before I start back again with materials, navigation, anything that you've had hiccups with that you have tried, or you've tried another curriculum and this was your main problem and you don't want to run into that problem again. Does anybody have questions like that that I can help you navigate? Or learning styles, learning differences. Maybe your kid has a learning disability and you want to know how do I, have I experienced that? Because I have taught like I don't know, 2,000, 3,000 students now, and none of them matched. All right. So
Oh,
oh,
sorry.
go
One
ahead.
more. Will you be posting this? We didn't do any Spanish over the summer. So, will you be posting the Zoom sessions via email again, or are those going to be?
They're always over in the thing. So I don't email them anymore. People are weird. Some people didn't like that. There are a couple of people that really got irate. And so anyhow, so you can always every time at the end of every single did I hit share? No, I didn't hit share yet. Sorry. There we go. So at the front level of every single lesson, every single level, I don't do it for that one. Kids could come for the whole family Spanish. They could come to the live sessions too. But every single level that you're on, the very first option is these live bonus speaking sessions. I change the color every month. So month of August is orange. Because I'm logged in as an admin, it won't let me show you the Zoom link or whatever. But here's the Zoom link in here. So you click that PDF. And if you're like, well, I don't really feel like clicking the PDF right now, you can find the dates and times here. But I did make it a lot more streamlined, Marianne. I now
Perfect.
it's Monday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. So now, so yesterday I had a session and I didn't have to wonder. I was like, see you Thursday. Then after Thursday, I know it's gonna be Monday. And after Monday, I know it's gonna be Friday. And so Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Friday. If it's during the week, it's always 2 p.m. If it's on a Friday, it's always 11 a.m. So
That's perfect.
yeah, I try to give everybody chances. My goal for your family is to join the session twice a month. That's why I stagger it like I do. So maybe 2 Mondays out of the month you can come, or 2 Friday, like whatever day you work. That's why I did it that way. 2 sessions a month would be perfect. I do have students who make it all 8 times, which is great, very, very rewarding.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you, Marianne. Appreciate it. All right. What books do we need for Spanish too? Good job. Oh, sorry, I missed some. Let's see. Red book, no edits. Okay. Online for See It and Say It. We talked about that. Website where the person can find more about the co-op option. Yes. So if you type in co-op in the search bar on Flip Flop Spanish, there's co-op handouts. I should be sharing my screen again. Sorry, y'all. Boop, boop. All right, share. So all I did was up here in the right-hand corner, I typed in co-op with the dash in it. Otherwise it says coop. And so here's the handouts. That's if you're teaching a flip-flop Spanish class and you want homework handouts. Here's the Spanish Geniuses discounted co-op access. You click that, you see it costs $0. You add it to your cart and you check out. So these are all the things I keep on checking for people, making sure it works. When you check out for $0, it will alert me. I will email you and I will say, hey, how many families do you have? And then after you tell me that, what's the name of your co-op, blah, blah, blah. And then I give you the discount code for the next 12 months that will work. And so that's how you get the co-op access. And also you can read on that page all the different discounts, how to do it. I send you ideas, like I talked about, doing it as a video course together or doing the homework option together. Johanna, maybe it's Johanna. What books do we need for Spanish 2? Spanish 2, when you click on lesson 1, it will tell you, it'll click you right through, but this is your book, Complete Spanish Step by Step. Our first 6 weeks is review. So you'll be very happy about that. I am adding mastery level quizzes to level 2 as well. So right now we just have I think lesson 1 and 2, but hopefully I'll get those before you get there so you can check to see that you're understanding. It is also consumable, just like before. We do skip around a lot. I don't like the order that she taught everything in. There's an answer key in the back, except for the reading sections. So the reading sections, because there's so many options to answer correctly, they don't have the reading answer key or the story answer key in the back. Let's see. And then the other thing you need for Spanish level 2 is your guidebook. This is level 1 again, but your guidebook is blue, or you can print out the PDF, right? So the PDF for the entire guidebook for the year is included in your subscription under lesson 1, level 2, lesson 1 here. I'm describing it instead of showing it. What does they say? Show, don't tell. So let me go back to the Spanish Geniuses. I always forget to click share. There we go. All right, so always hit browse. That's your best way to navigate the website. FAQs, level 1, level 2. I can click there, or I can click view all over on the right-hand side. Here's my speaking sessions I can find out about. Here's lesson 1. Under lesson 1, here's the course description. That's just if you need that for your transcript. Here's the grid, the same thing I showed you earlier. And then all your exams. If you have a kid with integrity issues, you can print those separately. And then placement test, rubric, guidebook. Here it is. So this is the entire guidebook. And you can print that out. So everything that you need is here. Also, check it out, Spanish 2 textbook. Click that through. It takes you directly to the book on Amazon. You don't have to wonder if that's correct or not. All right. Hopefully that helps you, Johanna. I guess I could have copied and pasted it over into the chat room. That would have been good, but hopefully that's not too hard to find. It's right there on the level 2, lesson 1 explanation. Carrie, for a family with 2 students at different levels, one is in level 1 and one is level 2. Yearly, so here's the benefit about monthly is you can stop at any time and you can pause it. So maybe you know that you're not going to do Spanish over December. Pause it. And so you're saving that $35 a month. Yearly, there's no way to pause it. So if you start on August 27th, it's going to go through August 27th of next year, but you're only paying for 10 months. So I don't know. Do you pause things? I don't remember to pause things. So it just depends. But $35 for 2 kids, it's pretty good, you know. And you can also add on the read alouds if you have younger kids and all kinds of things. They also have access to the lazy Spanish and things like that. All right. Any other questions for people that have been here? Otherwise, I'm going to start back on the agenda again and go back through my 7 steps and hit it all one more time. Yeah, pausing is really great. I don't know that I remember to pause things, but I do like having the option. If I know that there's no way they're going to get on this month, that's a really nice idea. So, and canceling, you know, if you just need to cancel. The problem with canceling is if when you resubscribe, if you did get a discount code, you have to contact me and get another discount code for your co-op or whatever. If you have a discount of any sort, that discount will not transfer again. So once you cancel, that price goes back. Or after 12 months, I can't make discount codes last longer than 12 months. Sorry. All right, I'm gonna start back again. It's 12:30. Yeah, thank you, Lexi. Glad y'all came. And you can always email me, message me, use the forums, Facebook, Instagram. I am so like connectable and I love this stuff. I love helping. The only reason this stuff exists is because I couldn't find something for my own children. If I could have found it, I guarantee you Flip Flop Spanish and See It and Say It and Spanish Geniuses would not exist. I looked for a high school Spanish course to send people to after Flip Flop Spanish was done with, they're done with See It and Say It. We just couldn't find anything that I felt good sending them to because I wanted video. I don't want the parents to have to put your kid in front of a stranger unless you choose to, right? This is an option. These live sessions are optional. And I didn't want them to have to stay with the thing. I also wanted them to have some sort of textbook. Everything was either online fully or live sessions or videos only. And so that's why this exists because I wanted the hybrid for my own kids and for my own students after See It and Say It. So that's why Spanish Now and not Spanish Now, Spanish Geniuses exists. I'm not sure I can stay any longer to jump to the daily and weekly expectations. Absolutely. All right. So we are on daily and weekly expectations, which is step 4. I'm also going to post this on YouTube, so you can skip through and find the whole long video if you like. So daily and weekly expectations is from your guidebook, which you can print or purchase, and your textbook, which you buy on Amazon. It's yellow now. It's this color now. And so we have edits. But those 2 things are what your student needs. And here's their expectations for the week. Every week, they're going to look at their lesson page. Step 1, watch the class video. Think of that as going to class. So like on Monday, they need to go to class. That's going to take 30 minutes, right? Basically 20-minute video, 30 minutes to sit down, get their stuff out. During the class video, they are taking their notes, apuntes. This is notes about questions. So that's 30 minutes for day 1. After they're done with day 1 in class, they're done for that day. Now they have homework. This is like Tuesday. Study for your quiz. Memorize the verbs on page 26. Page 26A, exercise. Okay, so anytime there's a page number, that's meaning they need to go into their textbook, Spanish Now, either the yellow one or the red one. I have edits for both. And so what did I say? Page 26. I'm looking down here. Oh, look, I'm already up to it. So here's page 26, exercise 1A. And so here's the verbs they're going to use, and they're having to do the questions here. They're writing it. And as I said earlier, every time they read and every time they write, they're going to be speaking out loud. They should never be writing or reading silently. They can always check their answers in the back. There's an answer key. During lesson 1, I go over all this. They can find their answer keys easily, and they know where to find everything in their book. So basically 30 minutes a day is what we expect for a high school student video class, and then 30 minutes of assignments each week. If they're a slower student, they're going to be slower with Spanish. I would like them to stand up after 20 minutes though. Their brain kind of atrophies and doesn't have those juices going. So if they're getting frustrated, it's been 20 minutes, there's nothing they can do. They need to stand up, walk around, stretch. They need to stand up and move around, and then they're going to be able to do that last little bit much more efficiently. Carrots, those little baby carrots and goldfish, those little crackers, that will also help. So chewing and getting your Spanish brain is a different part of your brain. They have not used it yet. This is difficult. It is frustrating. This little part of their brain has been dead and sad and like a little prune their whole life. And now they're trying to wake it up and they don't know how. So weekly, also the next part about that is that they do not move on till their assignment is complete for the next lesson. So they want to make sure they attain every single assignment from that weekly assignment sheet before they move on. I also give them a little rubric or grid is what I call it, homework grid, to, so if they put their date here, lesson 1, and then each activity. They're not going off of this to find the information. The information's in their assignment page. This is just to kind of show progress. I've done this. All right, Lexi, is it safe to assume that an older child, like a middle schooler, can go straight into Spanish? No, yeah, absolutely. So any kind of 7th or 8th grader, you can absolutely go into Spanish 1 without any experience. I recommend that they do a set of flashcards first, just to prime their brain. It just is fun and easy. So I have that quick start guide that's called, it's called a quick start guide that uses the Verde set of flashcards. It's a 3-week little session where they're getting used to speaking Spanish using a hands-on method, no screens, no heavy textbook. And that benefits them. But for a middle schooler, I would have them do it over twice as long, and they can do vocabulary 1 week and then grammar and bookwork the next. So they're just doing the vocab lab and just practicing those words, doing charades, acting it out, coming to our live sessions. And then the next week they're focusing on grammar. So give them the space and time to take 2 years for Spanish 1. It is a rigorous course. It is higher level. So I would recommend that they take longer. But yeah, they can absolutely go without any prior experience. Just be prepared that they might be flustered because it's designed for scholar level, ninth grade and up. And so they may not have the maturity level, even though they have the capability. All right. Going back to my agenda, we are on number 1, History of Spanish Geniuses. You're welcome, Lexi. They exist because I didn't have anybody to send anything to send people to. I did look, there's lots of options. Materials needed, I kind of already went over this, but I'll say it again. Spanish Now, you need either the red book or the yellow book. It's 8th edition or 9th edition. Either one will work. If you still have the red book, the MP3s are not on a CD anymore. It's downloadable. And send me, if you can't access the Barron's website well, and it is kind of hard, just send me an email. I send you the link and you can download the audio free of charge. The yellow book has edits. And so this is on the back of your guidebook. This is also included in every lesson where edits are required. So if there's something that you need to change, but look, we don't have any edits till lesson 3, then we have 3 weeks without lesson 7. So if you're on lesson 6 and you're like, wait, do we have any edits? This piece of paper will not show up on that lesson because there's nothing to change. So red book, 100% correct, no problems. Yellow book, here's your edits that will change. And then I don't know what happened in lesson 22, but there's a lot of changes down there. Sorry. Those are the required textbooks. Everybody has to either download and print their guidebook. So you can either, this is included in lesson 1 of level 1. You save the entire PDF, print it for as many kids as you want, hole punch it, put it in a binder. You're done. Some things that are not included in that PDF, they're optional. I included in the spiral bound is the grid, the homework grid. It tells you how to read it here. That's included. You can take that off separately. And then a grading report sheet is also handy. So what day did they do lesson 1? 100% on watching the video, 100% on doing the vocab lab. How much homework did they do? And then if you required them to take a quiz or not, you would write that there. And then I give you how to formulate it, what weight you give each section. Optional, if you would like to, I highly recommend some sort of notebook. They need something to write their vocabulary in. They have to get it out of the red book or the yellow book now into something. This is what I require my kids to do. It's called the skinny book. They write Spanish on one side, English on the other, and then they have a nice record of all the words they studied. I like flashcards better, but students are much more willing to do the skinny book. If you are the type that's handy, do it yourself. You get a notebook from Walmart, chop it in half, rebind the other side, and now you have your own skinny books. That's legit what I did for like 10 years. I would go and get them for 25 cents and then take a whole stack of 25-cent Walmart notebooks to my copy corner and slice them and rebind them. And then I had doodlers that wanted it plain. So you can get these lined with the lines in it or blank, but either way, I want them to have lots of space between every word. So just like 7 to 8 words per page, not like a big, long, tight list. So that's optional things. Oh, another optional thing. Do I have it? I don't remember where it is. Anyhow, I just made these little conjugation charts. They're so cute. I love them. And I don't see it. I have to get up and you're going to see them wearing shorts. It's Texas, right? I'm allowed to wear shorts. Okay, one second. Let me grab that conjugation chart real quick. Okay. So I made these cute little conjugation charts on magnets and super good. So you don't use a dry erase marker because that smears and things like that. You use a wet erase. So if you buy this is optional. You use one of those, remember overheads? We used to have those overhead screens. So it's a wet erase. So this comes with this. And now you can stick it to your mirror or to your fridge or whatever. And it's a really great way to practice. You can write your tense over here and then conjugate and then wet paper towel, wipe it off, do it again. Your book does come with all those charts. And so but that's a super fun optional thing. If you want, maybe I'll offer that as a prize for one of our bonus sessions soon. So that's an optional thing. All right, number 3, navigation. Oh, questions so far for people that just joined? Do you have any questions before I move on to website navigation? Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So here we are on the website. Let me go. So the first thing you always want to do to navigate is click browse. When you are on browse, you see everything you need. So the FAQs has a lot of answers, right? Any questions that you have, I made a video. There's, if you're wondering, well, I have a red book. How big of a difference is it? It's a very small difference. Like if half your co-op has red, half of them have yellow, it's still okay. It's very, very, very similar. There's a couple of reviews from some of my students about what they liked and didn't like about, I don't think they said anything they didn't like. They're smart. But here's a skinny book. So here, all these FAQs that you're able to answer. Look how many, a ton. All right. And then back to browse. Level 1 is where you likely start. If you say, oh, I can't find a lesson because it goes back to level 1 or lesson 1, it's because you need to either click view all, or you can click the title of the level, and that will give you every lesson. If you can't find something, typically you just need to scroll down. So anytime you're like, oh, I don't see it, a lot of times you scroll too fast and there's a little button at the bottom that says show more. And so just be patient and you can click show more, like right here, right? So here's level 2, same idea, 25 lessons. Reading time, these are all the books in the world that I've done, and I'm going to do one for every single week. So I think we're up to 30 something. Let's see, lesson 39. So we have 39 lessons so far. I'm going to make 52. So you will have, if you want to just read a book a week in Spanish, you will have all 52 weeks of the year covered. Go back to here. Next we have level 3, juniors, and then level 3. For juniors, this is for middle schoolers, maybe 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. If you decide to do the levels like in a row, then this section, lessons 1 through 6, you do need to do in order, but the rest of them you can skip around. And then the advanced lessons, after you do lesson 6, you can do more. Or if you've had a student that's already had some co-op classes, you could do the advanced lesson. Again, those you do need to do in order. Everything else you can skip and jump. All those read alouds also you can skip and jump around. Obviously, they don't build on each other. It's not like math. And then finally, level 3. Level 3 is very student-led. It's reading novels, watching movies, poetry, songs, all kinds of stuff. I give them options every week of what to do. And so you could actually do level 3 and 4, because the ones they don't do in level 3, they can do the next year. And then Lazy Spanish is super great. These things are only 5 minutes long, and it gives you rules like here's AL. So words that end in AL in Spanish also end in AL in English, like animal. That's the only one I can think of. Canal, like that's the only one I can think of right now. But there's a ton of them. Same with OR words. So I give you a formula and I teach you how to apply that formula to all the words. So you end up like learning one formula and like 50 Spanish words all at once. So I call it Lazy Spanish. I think that's it for navigation. There also, I should have told you, there's also the forums. If you type something out in the forums, everybody will see it, but also I will see it and get an email about it. You're welcome. And then there's also search bar. That's what I wanted to tell you. All right, let me click on that. So share one more time. The search bar is super good. So what I did here, this is how you get out of this. I couldn't take up at the top right hand corner is a little X. So say I can't find something. My kid needs practice on participles. So I type in participles, and there we have the 3 bonus sessions, 2 bonus sessions, and a time whenever I used a read aloud for that talked about the grammar in that read aloud. So there's the participle right there. Invitado is a participle. Maybe you want to have school words and you say, hey, we're doing back to school. Where's the vocabulary? So we have game schooling. Here's your bonus speaking session that has school words in it. So all the different options. And then also for the bonus sessions, if you missed a session, oh, my kid gave her the idea for the dinosaur, like he really wanted to talk about dinosaurs and he wasn't able to make it that day. Here they all are. We literally have more than 250 bonus sessions recorded now. If your kid says something embarrassing, I either edit it out or I don't post that video. But you can see it's always just me. You don't see the children. And you see me in different locations, and I'm pretty relaxed. And that makes the kids relaxed. And so they're able to speak a lot more confidently from that. All right, that's navigation. Daily and weekly expectations we already talked about, but we'll say again, 30 minutes a day is about what it should take. After 20 minutes, I want them standing up and moving around because they need to kind of juice up their brain and get some endorphins going and some movement in order to achieve it. They should not move on to the next week until all of their assignments are checked off. So if you're in week 3, you went through Monday through Friday, he got a terrible, terrible sore throat, he got bronchitis or whatever happened, something happened, and he only got to day 3. He didn't do day 4. Please do not move on to lesson 4 just because it's Monday again. Please make sure he does day 4 and then moves on to the next lesson. It's designed to be weekly, but the beauty of a video course is you can go slower or faster. So it's more important to hit all the things, do each assignment, read everything that you write aloud. And when you're reading, you're also reading it aloud. Questions on those top 4 things: history, materials, navigation, or expectations? Okay. The last little bit is pitfalls. I said this earlier. I don't know. I can't remember who was here when, but the main pitfalls for boys is they don't like to write. They just don't. And so they would rather just kind of look at it and think it through. But writing is a way that we remember things. So they need to be filling this in. If you have a student who really struggles, I do offer, I got permission from Barron's to send you the PDF of the red book. They don't have the yellow book, but the red book, I can send you the PDF free if you've purchased it already. And then you can click the 3 little dots and they can type in their answers and they can actually change it and save it. So it's an editable copy of Spanish Now. So that's a way around somebody who really hates writing. It unfortunately, their brain does absorb better when they're physically writing it than when they're typing it. But if you have a dyscalculia or dysgraphia issue, then that's part of it. Another pitfall with boys is they really are pretty sure they do know those words. They looked at them, they're fine. And they're overconfident and they don't know them. So you really need to help keep them accountable with those mastery quizzes. That's one of the reasons I put the mastery quizzes on there. But sometimes those multiple choice things don't really show the knowledge very well of what they've absorbed. So your skinny book, Spanish on one side, English on the other. And so you're sitting behind the thing, the kid's looking at this side, and you're looking at the answers basically. And so if they're looking at Spanish, they're calling up English. Translation is really difficult until after puberty. So if you have somebody who's kind of going through puberty and not quite on the other side, translation is really difficult. So it's better to point at a picture of something and have them name it. So you can go back through your Spanish Now book. A lot of the vocab, the reason the vocab is in that story is because there's pictures being able to say it. So you can point at the picture and have them describe it or name it in Spanish. Reading it and translating it is almost impossible before puberty. So when you say, oh, what did I say? Or you're saying it again to your 8-year-old in English, they can't do it. They just communicate in either English or in Spanish. Translation is very difficult. Let's see, I'm looking at my list to remember what I'm doing. Pitfalls for boys. Okay. Second pitfall for boys is checking it off. They don't like to note that they did it. So that's a really good method and making sure they, it's a good training habit. So did they do each thing? Check it off here. And then using the grid is a great idea too, because you can quickly see where they are. And it does start giving them hope and happiness because they start seeing, oh, look at how much I've done. And so they can use a highlighter, they can color it in, they can exit, they put their date up here, the date that they did the lesson. There's lesson 1, and then did they do each of those items? You're not using those items to tell you what to do. You're using that's just showing that you did it, right? The items are listed in detail on the lesson page. This is the actual assignment or the syllabus for the week. That grid is just to help you. And then you have your grading grid too, if you'd like to use that to keep track of it. Those mastery level quizzes are also helpful every week. If it doesn't stress your kid out. If they're anxious, don't have them do it. All right, Pitfalls for girls is the opposite. They want to know every single word specifically, perfectly. They're reading the story and they see one word and they fixate on it because they don't know what it means. So then they go through a rabbit trail looking it up on their phone, or SpanishDict.com is a good way to translate and find out words and dictionaries, but it's not good to stop reading a story to then go find one word. They need to understand that, just get the gist. Just get the gist. Are you going to have all 25 words perfectly memorized from that week's list? Probably not. But do you have 20 of them? So perfectionist is a little bit stronger in girls and they go a lot slower. They really want to know everything. So they need to remind themselves, or I recommend reminding them that X plus 1. So where they are is X, and I'm always going to be pushing them one level ahead. And that's on purpose. I'm not trying to frustrate them, but that's how you learn language. We can't just, you're not going to know exactly what's happening 100% of the time. It's language. It's not math, science, or literature. Another pitfall is just not doing it, right? Don't try to just read it. You need to watch the video. That's your class time. If you don't go to class, you're not going to know what's going on. So if they're just trying to, I'll just do it by myself, I'll just read the book, they're not going to know. They have got to take notes and watch the video and take notes while they're watching the video. So that's important. Number 6 is co-op methods. Any other questions about pitfalls or problems right now? All right, co-op methods. So you can have your co-op do it 2 different ways. One way is to watch the video all together for class. So you have 5 or more families doing this together. You go to your co-op, you're sitting in the sanctuary or the side room or the fellowship hall or wherever your co-op meets, and you can sit there and watch the video and take their notes, right? So there, maybe all 3 of y'all, or all 5 families are on lesson 3 now. And so you put your date at the top, you open up to your notes page, and you take your notes. That's one way to do it. Then you go home and do the homework, Tuesday through Friday, and you finish your homework, come back the next week. The other way is watch the video at home on your own whenever, and then use your co-op time to go over homework. If you have time at the end, after playing charades and going over your homework, reading it out loud, checking each other's answer keys, things like that, if you have time, you could add on the vocab lab or a video course, the video at the end. So I honestly recommend using your co-op time for accountability and reading out loud to one another, role playing, playing games. I have all kinds of ideas in the videos. In fact, you'll see my students play some of those games. So interaction during your co-op is the luxury and the benefit of co-op. So I recommend doing the videos on your own at home, and everybody has their own subscription. So it's no problem. You can watch however many levels whenever you want, but then you do the video or the homework stuff together in your meeting. So that's how I would do the co-op method. And then number 7, what's next? I do have a leadership course that I'm launching actually on Wednesday, a week from today. And so if you're interested in your high schooler, and it can be a middle schooler, but if you're interested in your high schooler or middle schooler doing a leadership course, it's based on Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I don't think I have it here. And it's phenomenal. It was super great. And I actually want my senior in high school to do it. I don't have an in-person class. So I'm like, please join so my child can go through this course because it's so good. So that's the leadership lab. And I sent out a couple of newsletters about that, and I'll send it out one more time. Very low cost because, like I said, really, I just want my daughter to have accountability as we walk through this class together. Any questions for me? All right, well, I'm going to hang out here. I told everybody I'd be here till 1:30. So any questions that you have, you can type out in the chat room or ask me out loud, and I'll be here for the next 30 minutes or so. I did it exactly the way I wanted, 30 minutes to go over the orientation and how to work the website. Each week you're watching a video and then doing the assignments from the textbook and from the guidebook. Remember, you can print out your guidebook, hole punch it and put it in your binder, or you can buy the spiral bound. But every week you do have assignments in that textbook, in the Spanish Now book, either the red one or the yellow one. So if you don't see your child doing work in their textbook, then that means they're not getting the full experience of learning Spanish. They need to be able to read, write, and speak. Yes, we focus on speaking because that's what I want you to do, but uh, you need to speak while you're doing it. So make sure you have those all covered: speaking, reading, writing. The live sessions that we have, we do twice a week. You can see, I'll come over here and share the screen so you can see where to find those. So here's the session recordings. Oops, I always forget to hit share. There we go. Here's the session recordings, which I found, which you find at the bottom, right? So it's the very last level, the last stripe here. So lazy Spanish, and here's all the recordings. We've had 250. So if your student is a little bit nervous, not sure they want to attend, they can watch and see and hear how it goes. And then at the beginning of every level, that's the same thing on every level. It's the same group of people. But you can see for August, here we are on the 26th was yesterday. We did evening routines. We have one more tomorrow. We're doing extreme weather at 2 p.m. And then I'll be posting September. You'll see September actually today. I'll be posting that one. But you'll have the same basic idea: Monday and Friday, 2 p.m., Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. It's always Monday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. If it's on a Friday, it's at 11 a.m. If it's a Tuesday, Thursday, it's at 2 p.m. And so that way, my goal for you is for your family to attend twice a month. Other than that, if you do more, I do have some students that come all 8 times, and that's a lot of fun. All right. I will hang out until unless y'all have some questions, and I'll be here. So in case somebody joins late and they have questions, they can go through it. I will also be, it's recording, and I'll post it over on YouTube with some of those bullet points so you can find the location for each one.